Wakanda was cloaked in sorrow. The heart of their nation, their king, T'Challa, the Black Panther, was gone. Silence hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the usual vibrancy of the hidden nation. The cries of the women echoed through the Golden City, a mournful symphony of grief. T'Challa's passing was not just the loss of a leader, but the loss of a symbol, a guardian, a brother. The weight of his absence pressed down on every Wakandan. He was their protector, the embodiment of their strength and resilience. Now a void remained, a gaping wound in the soul of Wakanda. Their king, who had fought so valiantly against internal struggles and external threats, was gone. The throne room, once brimming with life and laughter, stood eerily silent. The air was thick with the ghosts of past conversations, of T'Challa's wisdom and strength. His memory lingered like a bittersweet fragrance, a reminder of what they had lost and what they could lose forever. Shuri, T'Challa's younger sister, was lost in a whirlwind of grief and responsibility. The weight of her brother's legacy fell upon her shoulders, an unbearable burden. The brilliant mind that had given Wakanda its technological edge now struggled to find solace in her inventions. The recreation of the heart-shaped herb, the source of the Black Panther's power, became her sole mission. It was a race against time, against the vultures circling Wakanda, eager to exploit their vulnerability. But the herb, destroyed by Killmonger, seemed determined to remain lost. Failure after failure gnawed at Shuri's resolve. Each attempt, fueled by desperation and love for her brother, ended in bitter disappointment. The pressure mounted, pushing her to the brink. The fate of Wakanda, the legacy of her brother, rested on her shoulders. The world had long looked upon Wakanda with envy and suspicion. Their isolationist policies, while protecting their resources, had also bred mistrust. Now, with T'Challa gone, that mistrust morphed into a ravenous hunger. Vibranium, Wakanda's most precious resource, was the object of their desire. Countries that had once courted Wakanda's friendship now saw an opportunity. They applied pressure, using diplomacy as a thin veil for their greed. Espionage ran rampant, with secret agents infiltrating Wakanda, seeking to steal their technological secrets. Wakanda, once a beacon of self-sufficiency, now found itself on the defensive. The world, they realized, was not ready for their gifts. Instead, it sought to take, to exploit, to control. Wakanda's isolation, once a source of pride, now felt like a cage. Queen Ramonda, T'Challa and Shuri's mother, bore the weight of grief with stoic grace. She was the pillar holding Wakanda together, a symbol of strength in the face of adversity. She knew that Wakanda needed its protector, now more than ever. Ramonda approached Shuri, her voice a blend of concern and hope. She spoke of the need for a Black Panther, for a symbol to unite and protect their people. Her plea was not a command, but a mother's desperate hope. "Wakanda needs the Black Panther, Shuri," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "We need our protector. I know you can do this. You can recreate the heart-shaped herb. You can give us back our strength." Shuri, burdened by her grief and the pressure to live up to her brother's legacy, found little comfort in her mother's words. She wanted to believe, to find the strength to carry on, but the task seemed insurmountable. Section 5. Beneath the Waves, the Rise of Talokan. Unbeknownst to Wakanda, a new threat was rising from the depths of the ocean. In the hidden underwater civilization of Talokan, a powerful being watched Wakanda's turmoil with cold, calculating eyes. His name was Namor, the Submariner, and he had a score to settle. Namor had long observed the surface world, his heart filled with resentment for their disregard for the ocean and its people. The discovery of vibranium in the Atlantic, a direct consequence of Wakanda's recent actions, was an unforgivable transgression. He saw Wakanda's vulnerability as an opportunity. They had taken something from him, something precious and irreplaceable. Now, he would take something from them. He would have his revenge. Section 6, The Avenging Sun, Namor's Fury Unleashed. Namor, fueled by righteous anger and a thirst for vengeance, unleashed the might of his underwater warriors upon Wakanda. Their attack was swift and brutal, a tidal wave crashing against the shores of the isolated nation. Wakanda, caught off guard, reeled from the unexpected assault. Their weapons, forged from the depths of the ocean, were unlike anything Wakanda had ever seen. The ground trembled under the weight of giant sea creatures, their roars echoing through the once peaceful valleys. Namor, adorned in the regalia of his underwater kingdom, led the charge, his eyes blazing with fury. He was a force of nature, unstoppable and unforgiving. His anger, born from centuries of pain and resentment, would be Wakanda's reckoning. Section 7. The Ultimatum. A choice between survival and subjugation. Namor, having demonstrated his power, offered Wakanda a choice: submit or be destroyed. He demanded their allegiance, their resources, and their unwavering loyalty. He would have Wakanda as his vassal state, a tool in his quest to protect the oceans from the surface world. His ultimatum hung heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket of dread. Wakanda, for the first time in its long history, faced a threat they could not easily defeat. Their technology, their strength, seemed paltry compared to the raw power of Namor and his army. The weight of the decision fell upon Shuri and Ramonda. Surrender meant sacrificing their sovereignty, their pride, their very way of life. But defiance, they knew, could mean the end of Wakanda. Section 8. Wakanda Forever, a nation divided. Namor's ultimatum divided Wakanda. Some, fearing for their lives and the future of their nation, argued for a peaceful resolution. They saw the futility of fighting a force as powerful as Namor and his warriors. Others, fiercely independent and unwilling to bow to any outsider, rallied for war. They believed that Wakanda's strength lay in its unity, its technology, and the spirit of the Black Panther. The debate raged on, splitting families and friends. The very fabric of Wakandan society, built on unity and shared purpose, was fraying at the seams. The time for mourning T'Challa was over. The time for decision was upon them. Section 9. The Gathering Storm. Allies and enemies. As Wakanda grappled with Namor's ultimatum, the world watched with bated breath. Some saw an opportunity to exploit Wakanda's vulnerability, to seize the vibranium they so desperately craved. Others, recognizing the greater threat, offered their support. Old alliances were tested, new ones forged in the crucible of conflict. The fate of Wakanda, and perhaps the world, hung in the balance. The line between friend and foe blurred as the world held its breath, waiting to see which side Wakanda would choose. The Dora Milaje, Wakanda's fierce warrior women, prepared for battle, their loyalty to their nation unwavering. They were ready to fight, to die, for their home. But the question remained, could they defeat an enemy as powerful as Namor? Section 10. A future uncertain. The fate of Wakanda hangs in the balance. As the sun began its final descent, casting long shadows across the Wakandan plains, the nation stood at a crossroads. The weight of their history, their legacy, rested on the shoulders of a grieving queen and a princess struggling to find her footing. The drums of war beat steadily in the distance, a reminder of the impending conflict. The fate of Wakanda, their independence, their very existence, was uncertain. The path ahead was fraught with danger, with impossible choices and unimaginable consequences. But one thing was for sure: Wakanda would fight. They would fight for their land, their people, their way of life. They would fight with the spirit of the Black Panther, with courage, with resilience, with Wakanda forever in their hearts.